All right, Ken, I think we got people are joining us. They're flocking in. I don't know how many we had registered for this, but I know I think it was a couple hundred, which is kind of cool.
That's
But
great.
yeah, that shows a significant amount of interest in this topic. And Ken, I don't know, Ken, have you been to any of the other webinars that I've
I
held?
have. Yes.
So
Yes.
you probably know my thing that I like to do when I'm stalling.
Well, there's a few. Which one is it? Is it the jokes? Is
It's
it
the dad.
the
It's the
dad
dad.
jokes? Yeah,
It's the
yeah, yeah.
dad joke thing. By the way, I'm working on this thing that I'm going to do uh, called the dad joke of the day. I want to see if that takes off. Actually, my friend here in the company, Alejandro, has helped me with that. You ready for one? Do you want one?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Hit me.
Uh, do you work out, Ken? This is not
Occasionally.
a joke.
Enough. I work out enough.
Clearly, look at you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
well, I actually hit the gym, and my date didn't show up for the gym.
Mhm.
I guess we're just not going to work out.
That's fair. That's as dead
I,
as they get.
I'm always looking for the right reaction. Want a different one? This one's one of my favorites, an oldie but goodie, and I'm going to pause a little bit. Thank you, Asha. I'm glad you like that one. Face palm. You know
Face
what,
palms.
Chris? You
That's
know
the
what,
right way.
Chris? You come up with
Yeah.
your own dad joke. I want to hear. All right, here's an oldie but goodie, and then we're gonna get into the meat. I just like giving people a chance to get in here. Oldie but goodie. This is honestly one of my favorite dad jokes. What happens when frogs park illegally?
Mm. I
They get
feel like I know
towed.
this one, but
They get towed. They get
toad.
towed.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Another one out there about like something like
It's a good
open
one.
toed sandals and something like that. All right. Ken, you ready to get into the meat?
I'm ready.
All right, gang. I am Dave Will. Hello. Thank you for joining us. I'm the co-founder and CEO of this company called Prop Fuel. Thank you for spending the next 45 minutes with us. I'll say this. This isn't a product pitch. And I'm kind of lying, actually. This is quite a bit of a product pitch. However, I will say that it's also something that I've been thinking about literally for years. This is all a concept that has come to life that I've been working on in the back of my head for years. Um, this is all about taking data, the scattered data that we have around us, and turning it into something that we can act on, turning into what we're calling signals, clear signals that your members are sending you every day. All right. So with that, I'm Dave Will. I'm the co-founder of Prop Fuel. I've been an association professional for over 20 years, but I've been working on Prop Fuel for almost a decade now. Joining me today, and I'm very, very grateful to have you here, is Ken Root. Ken is the director of membership at the International Hearing Society. Ken's been using signals in Propule on real campaigns. He was part of our beta program when we tested this out in the market a month or so ago. And he's got some opinions that naturally they're positive, and that's why we invited him here. I know the answer to this one, and they're positive opinions. So, Ken, thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your day and prepping with us for this message. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Ken, how long you been working with associations?
Oof, 20, close to 20 years now.
Yeah,
Been in the professional business space close to 30, but I got into the nonprofit space about 2020. Yeah.
yeah, that's
A while.
even back in 2025. I mean 2005 or so. Is that?
Yeah, right around that time
Yeah,
frame. Yeah.
yeah. Me too, actually. I started a business in 2001 and
hmm
meandered around and finally discovered associations in around 2005. And that was a learning management system. Were you always a membership person?
yes and no. So membership, marketing, technology. I'm a big tech nerd, I guess, for lack of a better term. Here I've got my remarkable, right? I'm taking notes. Um, But it's been predominantly membership, marketing, operations, and technology.
All right.
I've
Well,
been all
again,
over. And that's the association way. You do it all.
so listen, I suspect you're not going to, and I want actually, you know what you may do is jump in the chat, Ken. If there's
Sure.
something you've noticed or something you want to comment on, you've already told me you're probably not going to interrupt me, although I welcome you to try to get a word in. Anyone in the audience, if you are listening, you have a comment, something that resonates, a question, pop it in the chat. Really, really would very much like to see what you're thinking. And I'm also curious, if you don't mind typing it in there, I'm curious what role you are in your organization. I want to see what group of people we've attracted to learn about. Is there membership? Is it marketing? Are you the tech people? Are you database people? Oh, hey, Justin. Nice to see you here. I just had a nice conversation with Justin this week on the phone. All right. Let me before we get into the real topic, which is capturing signals from your members, let me just set the stage. Let me tell you a little bit about Propule. I found that when I don't do that, the message is not very clear, or it loses some context. And so this is the context of where I'm coming from. Propfuel is a software platform. It's centered around capturing member insights and helping you engage members on those insights. It's an insight and engagement platform for associations. We we base our entire platform around this concept, this methodology of ask, capture, and act. It's centered around the concept of listening to your members instead of talking to your members all the time. I often say talking at your members because sometimes it feels like that's what we're doing. And when you're the recipient of a lot of the broadcast messaging that goes out, it feels like you're getting talked at. And so I'm a huge fan of HubSpot. We use HubSpot ourselves. I like HubSpot. I like Informs. I like all the marketing automation tools out there. I think, unfortunately, we try to use them for too much. PropFuel is a listening system and it is designed to listen to your members. That's what we do, insight and engagement. So, having said that, um, let me tell you a little bit now of how we got here. So, PropFuel started a little under a decade ago. Um, And it started with a fairly simple idea, and I just alluded to it a minute ago. It was centered around this idea of giving associations a way to listen to your members. And we built listening tools like a two-way campaign system that engages and captures individual needs. It's the kind of thing that makes a member feel like a person as opposed to a record in a database. And what we kept hearing back from association leaders was the same thing. We got a ton of data, all the data in our AMS, but knowing what to do with it is the hard part. And so that was the onset, or with, I should say, the onset of AI over the last couple of years. That's what led us to build Membership AI, which now helps capture and process the right data so that we can identify key issues. That's the key here with signals, is identifying those key issues to help you figure out what you should do about it. Um, and in fact, Ken, a point I want to make right now, and I'm curious if anyone else was around in the late 90s working. I don't mean around like born. I mean like actually in a job. Ken, I know you were. You're not
I
as young.
absolutely was.
I
Yeah,
know you're not as young as you look.
I'm not. I'm not.
You got to grow a beard to prove the grays here, I think. But
That's a winter thing up here. I'm in Michigan. That's a winter thing. The summer months we got to
fair,
protect.
fair
Open.
enough. But if you were around in the late 90s, early zeros, you'll remember this massive shift in
Mhm.
the industry, any industry, and it was the dot-com,
Yeah.
uh, what ultimately was dot-com bubble. But even that bubble was a beautiful thing. I mean, we got pushed forward so much in that 20-year window, and it's still evolving. But since then, I have not seen a surge like what I'm seeing with membership. I'm sorry, with AI.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
it is so fun. And yes, there's some things to be anxious about, of course, but it is an amazing surge in industry right now. It's just so cool, especially to be founder of a software company. It just makes it even more fun. And yeah, and Chris, the bubble may burst, and that's okay. I read this great article about how bubbles are actually quite healthy for industry. What happens is a bubble is essentially a surge of money going into an industry, and then what happens is some of the big guns go out of business, and some people lose money, including investors. But then you know what happens is we still have had that surge, which pushed us forward, and then everything regrows. And so bubbles aren't going backwards. Bubbles are just like thrusting forward and then recovering from it. So I think people talk about a bubble like it's the end of the world. It's not. It hurts the investments briefly, but then everything thrives from it. All right. I thought you would say something in agreement or a virtual high five there, Ken.
I just nodded my head. Isn't that enough?
That's
No,
what that's what I thought you were saying.
not,
I
no,
was
I
looking
nodded
at
my
you.
head. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still
All right.
stuck on that 90s thing. I don't feel like I'm that old yet.
Yeah, you are. All right. So, membership AI. I'm just super excited about this, and this comes with my excitement for AI in general. So, what we've done over the past, gosh, maybe year or so, we've made AI native to PropFuel, and we're calling that layer of AI in PropFuel, we're calling it membership AI. Now, the best way to understand it is to break it down into these five parts. And it's a repeating cycle. We have insights, which is a collection of data and organizing that data. And then you have signals, which is taking that data and raising flags saying, ooh, we found something. And then there's segments, which is the ability to create groups of people to target based on those signals. And then you have recommendations, which is like, hey, by the way, you got the signal and you have a group of people. Here's what we think you should do with it based on your goals and objectives as an organization. And then you have this initiative builder, which is essentially building and grouping campaigns all around what you should be doing next. And so today we're focused very, very specifically on what I think is the most powerful component of membership AI, and that's the signals. But I want you to see the whole picture before we dive in. Now, let's dig in. Let's dive into signals. So we've all missed signals, and we do every day. It's just natural. It's human. That's that's actually the beauty of AI is AI is less likely to miss signals as we are. But we've all missed the signals in our personal lives, in our work, in our relationships. Um, there's movies about the kid in middle school who missed the signals from the other kid saying, "Hey, I think you're cute. I like you." And then, of course, in the movie, they end up together 20 years later, and one's out in farm country and one is a big city person, and they come together. Uh, on the other side of the coin, there's the friend who is clearly, or maybe not so clearly, going through something. There's something happening to this person that they may not want to touch on or talk about, and they're giving you clues, there's signals there, and you're just not picking up on them. Or perhaps it's your spouse who I just looked at that image, that look, oh my God, on her face. There's a signal. I'll tell you that right now. But
Yeah.
there's signals that your spouse is telling you um, that maybe we need to pay attention to. Why does she give me that look every time I bring work up at the dinner table? And what do I do about it? So none of these are catastrophic, but they're just signals that we didn't catch. And so here's the thing: we're not bad at noticing things. In fact, I think in one-on-one relationships, we can be pretty perceptive when we slow down. In all of those scenarios, if you're really paying attention, you can kind of see those signals. We do pick up when somebody likes us or when somebody's struggling or when your spouse is unhappy about something. We do pick up on that stuff. We're actually pretty good at it, but we're bad at noticing everything. And I think that's especially true when we're dealing with lots of people at the same time. The volume is what defeats us. And that's exactly what's happening to you with your members. So your members are sending you signals, and it comes in the form of data at first. And every campaign, uh, whether cross-channel campaigns, every email, every webinar, every conversation at events for that matter, they're telling you things. And the question is whether or not you're able to catch them or turn that data into meaningful signals. So let's look at data from one particular campaign that actually generates. So this is just a ton of data coming in. You send a message. Email is very, very common in terms of the tools that we use for communicating things. But you've got opens, you got non-opens, you got clicks, replies, sentiment, timing, drop off, comparisons to previous periods. You've got patterns across segments, across member types. And that's just one campaign. You've got probably 10 other campaigns that you've run this month, maybe more. I think I can virtually hear some of you laughing at the number 10 campaigns in a month. Maybe you got 50 campaigns in a month. That's the data you're sitting on, though. And most of that data, nobody's looking at it. And there's all kinds of signals in there. There's all kinds of, especially when you aggregate it. All right, time for a thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat. And feel free to add comments along the way again. Even if you have the data, which I think most of you do somewhere, it's on HubSpot in Forms, it's in your AMS, it's in your LMS, it's in your surveys. Do you actually know what to do with it? Are you using the data in an effective way? Give me a thumbs up if you think you're using it in an effective way. Give me a thumbs down if you think that you're not using this data to engage your members well. Yes, you got to pick one or the other. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
That previous slide, look, basically it was my brain with the data that we get on every single campaign. It's insanity. I mean, there's so many different, levels that you can try to segment and try to make sense of. And that's always been the challenge.
I heard I'm seeing a lot of thumbs down. And maybe everybody else is just saying, duh, you know it's a thumbs down. And you're right, I do. That's why I asked that question. I know it's a thumbs down. Um, all right. Let's say you could analyze the data yourself. Let's just say you actually had that ability to analyze the data yourself, or maybe you dump it into your own AI system. Um, do you have time to set aside to comb through that data and figure out what to do with it week after week, campaign after campaign? You got the board prep, you got the next campaign, you got your conference, you got your renewal cycle, you've got kids to pick up at soccer, you've got a dentist appointment. My hunch is most of us um, are constrained with time. I'm sorry, I'm actually reading and talking at the same time. Has anybody ever done that before? It's very difficult.
It is.
Uh, I'm trying to read Justin's comment here. Getting us to change the question, which year did they tend? So thank you, Justin. I appreciate this. Um, okay. So I see more thumbs down. Like time is probably just as big a factor as not knowing what to do with the data. Um, here's the thing. So it's not really a data problem. You got plenty of data. It's not about collecting more data. Although I would argue we are mixing some contextual data. We have a lot of transactional and behavioral data. So I do think there is a little bit of a data problem in there. We have a lot of certain kinds of data and not enough of other kinds. But anyway, now there's some more questions, of course, which is, okay, what does it mean and what am I supposed to do with it? That led to what we've done with membership AI, specifically to signals. So this is the beautiful signals that I've been alluding to. And so here's what it actually does. It reads your campaign data and it surfaces a few things worth acting on. That's it. It's not a dashboard. It's not a different view of your data. We have that too. But signals is what comes next. It's your new data analyst. It's the one that looks at your data and actually surfaces the things that you should know. Oh, can you imagine having like a tool like this when you were dating? Like imagine it. I I don't know what made me think of. Can you imagine
That's the
having like
best. Yeah. Yeah.
I want
Trademark that, Dave. That's the next business venture. You
well,
know?
I mean, we got all these wearables. I just saw a ring that like listens to conversations and captures
Yeah.
it, much like all these listening tools.
Yeah.
It's not going to be long, man, before you have a ring that says, "Hey, man, it's time to go in for that kiss." Like you're
Mm.
getting the signals. Um, why did I say that, Ken? Why do I do that? Why do I say things like that?
Yeah. Is there a disclaimer for me on this or
I don't
no?
know, but that's the thing. And I'm going back to like that somebody likes you sort of thing. Maybe that's what planted the seed. Like I was terrible at that kind of stuff. I was so scared of girls. Should we talk about signals?
We
All right.
should. Yeah.
All right. So remember that mess from a few slides ago? I think you commented on this, Ken.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same data, same campaign, but now three things have come to light. So three things have surfaced from that data. There's one opportunity, there's something to keep an eye on, and then we're seeing a rising area of interest. And that's what signals are. These are signals. We're going to see some examples of this now. So I'm going to walk you through an onboarding campaign and show you what a signal does. I'm also going to put this in context of prop fuel and what we do because I think signals falls into this um, the bigger picture of this ask, capture, act mentality. So here's the basic setup. We're looking at about 128 in this example, and this is a make-believe example. But in this example, we're looking at about 128 new members in the last 30 days or so. They've begun a 13-part drip campaign over the course of year one and it's probably front heavy. Oftentimes, every week or 2 weeks for the first 6 weeks or so, they're getting a check-in. So we ask more questions early on in the journey, and then eventually it spreads out to monthly or maybe every 6 weeks or so. Um, Here's an example from Nap Nap. Hey, Justin. Justin, who's been commenting in here, I had a little premonition that Justin was going to be here, so I wanted to show one of his campaigns. But um, it's the first email in a new member receives. And correct me if I'm wrong, Justin. I think this is either first or early on in the new member experience. And it follows this typical Propule Ask Capture Act methodology. So they ask one question. A little brief prompt, very conversational in nature. So almost like we're asking somebody a question in person, say, hey, we're so glad you joined. By the way, what are you hoping to get out of your membership? And there's six options. And the chart on the right shows what came back and the workflows associated with each individual answer. Below that, uh, it's a lot like a choose your own adventure for members. And over the course of a 13-part campaign, and Justin, I don't know how many parts are in your particular campaign, but it's not uncommon for a new member onboarding campaign to be about 13 steps. Just about every member will have a pretty individualized onboarding experience. In this case, what I think is kind of interesting is like 38% of the people picked discounted CE. And the platform, of course, routes those people into a CE focused follow up automatically. But what I love about this methodology is normally we're going to focus on the bulk, and the bulk is just 38%. What about the other 62%? Like how fast I did that math, Ken?
That's impressive,
I
Dave.
know.
That's
I'm the next
90s schooling right there,
I
you know?
just got my heart rate went up when I had to do that math. So, but even more specifically, look at the 2% that are interested in advocacy. And I think it's so cool now using this methodology that we can focus not just on the bulk of people, but also focus on those 2% that are interested in advocacy. Um, yeah, so Justin says they receive it the day after joining. They can get as small as three if they do not select anything, and as many as 25 if they select every option. Wow, that's awesome. All right. Well done, Justin. Thank you. Uh, all right. Process continues over the course of a year. Now, this says IHS membership. I'm not sure if this is just an example, Ken, or if
Looks
these.
like an example. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
not
these.
something I created
Okay.
verbatim. Yeah.
So, but in this scenario, this might be a series of five of the 12 or 13 or nine check-ins that you might be asking. But the process continues over the course of the year, capturing data, leading to more signals. And every check-in, whether it's email or SMS or website, it asks one question. Yeah, there might be a follow-up question. It might lead to another question, but the focus is on getting people to answer this just one question. So here's the part most people don't realize is popular campaigns are this journey. It's like I said before, choose your own adventure style approach to engagement. So we don't drop long surveys into members on the first day. I actually love surveys. I think that's rich in data. That's not generally it's not what we do though. We ask one question, we get an answer, we learn something, then we take action on it immediately. And then a little further along the journey, another question, and then another, and so on. Different questions, different segments, all at different points of the member journey. So over time, you build this real picture of who each person is and what they want. Okay, so this in particular is not related to signals. This is the precursor to signals. So from this example, from this onboarding example, six patterns or signals emerge, not a whole spreadsheet of data that we need to comb through to get some information out of, but six things worth looking at. And some of them are things to keep an eye on, and some are opportunities, and one's a small risk. And but the point is, it's a manageable list of things that you can act on. Um, and then you look at other campaigns um, that may not be new member, but renewals, event campaigns, member interest, and profile updates, and we're
Yeah.
capturing signals from all those as well. Um, and every campaign is generating data and marrying it to historical data and generating patterns like this. Most of them until now was just too spreadsheety there's a word for you, spreadsheety to pull. That's the word of the day. I'd play
Is
this.
it IE or Y?
I
What's
was
the,
I was visualizing a Y.
okay, I'm with it.
Is but that goes back to the age-old question, is it root or root? And I learned
That's fair.
yesterday it's root like foot.
Yeah,
So the English language is tough.
I
Um,
agree with Justin. I feel like Y is correct as well. Yeah.
all right. So the point is these are things we're pulling out of that data. So you're not dealing with spreadsheety decisions. Um, Here's a couple examples of organizations from, and if you're here, jump in, just say, "Hey, that's us." Here's a couple examples. This is actually like the view inside of PropFuel where you'll see signals pop up. Um, um, Here's another one with once you would drill down into the signals, then you might decide that you want to focus on a particular group of people. And I think that's something you're going to show us in a minute, Ken, is what you've seen as signals in some of your campaigns, what you've decided to focus on. I love this one. And you can see these are all very, very new. So a lot of this stuff has not been developed yet, like matches in the last 30 days here. But I love the fact that this is identifying, as small as that number is, this is identifying people that need help. And this could come from any number of places. It might be open-ended text that where people have expressed frustration. And then on the other side of the coin, you have people that are saying, "Hey, I want to do something. I want to help with something. They're submitting a proposal." Um, all right, here is a couple more people that are planning to renew. And in sometimes it's people that have planned to renew, but they haven't yet. And you know they plan to renew because they told you they plan to renew, but you have a whole list of people that have planned to renew and actually have not yet hit the button and done it. And so it's going to take a little nurturing sometimes to get those people over the line. This one's just amazing. People that were unaware that their member lapsed and they still haven't not renewed. Um, all right, Ken Root.
That's me.
Really appreciate you being patient. Thank you for the prep work you did this. I would love to have you tell us a little bit about your journey with IHS that led to you wanting to listen a little bit more to your members. Tell me what problem were you looking to solve that led you down this path?
Appreciate the opportunity. And it is the root of this conversation, Justin. Thank you for that one. Heard
Yeah,
it, but
very
you know,
good.
more than once is great.
The root
Uh,
of this conversation.
so I've been in this space for a long time. I've been, directly working for an association like IHS that I've been with for a little over 2 years now. I've also been in the AMC, so Association Management Company. And at one point, I was managing 22 different associations at one single time, and so on and so forth. So the thing that you had put up there before, Dave, of click-through rates, open rates, and this and that, and that's it, from a membership perspective. There's so many different signals out there, and what I was challenged with when I came to IHS was, what do those signals actually mean? How can I turn signals into action? How can I be on the forefront of conversing and engaging? And that's a buzzword in the membership field, right? How can I engage with my members more? This is that way. I'd known Prop Fuel before I came on with IHS, brought Prop Fuel on board to IHS because it was necessary. We are very much the organization that sends an email, click a button, buy a product, and we'll see you next time. There was really no engagement. There was no activity. And it was important for me to be good at what I do or what I need to bring to IHS. I need conversation. I'm a conversational guy, just in general. So, in the past, what I used to do was take the analytical information, I would export it, get to my spreadsheeties, and start to, dissect the information as much as I possibly could to try to find some similarities, some things, like, hey, Dave answered this question this way, this question that way, these questions that way. Ooh, I think I figured Dave out. We never did. We never
Mhm.
will, right? I mean, it's a constant moving target. So what we really truly needed to do was identify what stood out the most for our membership. And just to give you a brief kind of behind the curtain as to who we are. So International Hearing Society, international association. So we have members all over the world. A majority are in the US, right? Just like most international societies for the most part. We service and provide resources, benefits, advocacy, all the association things to hearing aid specialists, right? So probably everybody on this call knows someone or has a family member with a hearing aid. So it's a massive industry. Everybody's different. You've got Miracle Ear, you've got Beltone, you've got Costco warehouses now, Sam's Club. There's so many different places to get them. From my perspective, I need to know what makes them tick. What keeps them up at night has been a buzz question I've been using for ages. What keeps you up at night? And that question changes over time. So what I really ran into is, what's the most beneficial thing that we can provide as an association to our membership? And if you went around the room in our office today and asked that question, they would all say free CE, continuing education. Okay, it's more than that. You can get free CE anywhere you want. You can go all over the place and get continuing education. What's our standout? What puts us in a different crowd than everybody else?
And
So
Ken,
bringing, yeah,
even if it
please.
was CE,
Yeah.
for the majority, like look back at NapNap's response.
Hmm.
Yeah, people would say CE, 38% of people. But what about
Sure.
that 62% where it's not necessarily the main thing they're looking for?
That's the key. Everybody looks at analytics and looks for the big number and then tries to capitalize on
Yes.
it because big
Yeah.
equals better, right? From my perspective, big isn't always better. Big gives you kind of a placeholder to understand, okay, well, we market CE incredibly well. We don't need to really change much of that. That's an emphasis a lot of folks have. But this 2% that are talking about advocacy, how can we tap into that? How can we make that conversation or this particular signal and turn it into something that's fruitful for the association moving forward? So, and there's so many different moving parts in this association. So one of the examples that we're going to see here was just it's very cut and dry. I mean, you'll see the question, and the ultimate deal here was, are you interested in becoming board certified? That's in our industry, that's like the next level. You become licensed, you practice, and then board certification is the next big jump. We're separate entities. So in theory, I can't go after board certified folks, and board certified folks can't come into our database system because of our bylaws and all that fun stuff. But I was interested. So I just asked the question, are you interested in becoming board certified? Behind the scenes, what I was trying to identify is who are the lowest hanging fruit? Who are the people that are actively looking at board certification today? Because today's what matters. A year down the line, yeah, it will still send you information, but right now is what matters for this particular case because we wanted to identify the people that were ready to take an action and provide them with an opportunity that otherwise wasn't presented to the mass of the membership because it was a small incentive program that we were trying to run to try to boost board certification and so on and so forth. So what Prop Fuel was able to do, just out of the box, it presents me with the opportunity to create that journey. Are you interested in board certification? Yes. And then that secondary piece is the information that I want to share with them by saying yes. But what I was able to do was pull out those yeses, identify that low hanging fruit, and really have engaging conversations with them to better understand why they haven't taken that action yet. We're all data folks. We have so much data on our members. We know when they joined. We probably know what time they joined. We've all gotten the calls that say, I didn't get this email, and we find out they unsubscribed. And I personally love those calls because I'm like, well, you unsubscribed on May 14th, 2021. It looks like 9:05 a.m., and it just shows that we have the information that you're trying to say we don't, but we need to use that information to be better at what we're doing and to better service our clients down the line. So that was one of the big indicators for me, just with Prop Fuel in general. Then let's fast forward to membership AI. I mean, first of all, there are two buzzwords for everybody that's on this call. I saw a lot of membership people, a lot of marketing people. Membership is our thing. AI is the future. Now you're marrying the two. Genius naming. I don't know who put that together, Dave, but well done. Well done.
Guilty.
Yeah,
Guilty.
yeah, yeah.
You know
But
what?
it's yeah,
Actually, in all sincerity, we did come up with all these clever names. And
yeah,
they were like, you know what? Despite the fact that we can't trademark this because it's just too literally in legal terms,
yeah,
descriptive.
yeah.
We like that, but that's what we want. We want descriptive. I don't care if somebody else starts saying that. That's fine.
Right.
That's what it is.
Well, I assume you guys knew the information you had on me already and knew that I was going to jump on board with this because you hit my two buzzwords with membership AI. But immediately when I saw this come through, I was incredibly intrigued. I reached out to my customer care individual at Prop Fuel and I said, "What is this? How do I get it?" I wanted it before I knew what it was, but I know what kind of product you guys put out there. So we had
Thank
this conversation, and it is taking the choose your own adventure to a different level because you can choose the adventure, you can read the book, and you can take this path and take that path and have an ultimate different ending. But now what? What's after that? And that's been the key with this particular product that with signals and segments that you guys have launched. That was answering that question for us. I can do as much as I want to with all the data and all the analytics and all these clicks and opens and so on and so forth. Signals gives me definitive information that I can act on right
Is this a
away.
good time for me to pull up the
Yeah,
visual
you
you're
could
seeing?
have, I
Okay.
could have done it 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
No, that's all right.
So as you see here, I mentioned the board certification piece. So very simple question. Are you interested in becoming board certified? If it's something you're interested in, but not in the moment, you're going to answer no. If it's something you're interested in, but it's just not the right time, you're going to probably answer, yeah, I want to get into this and so on. It was a very simplistic question that was really meant to push out and identify the people that wanted to do it now because we had something to offer them. Um, in our space, in association space, you have an offering, people jump on it because it's pretty rare, right? So we don't discount, we don't offer a whole bunch of things on membership and those types of things, but this was an opportunity for us to do that. And we needed to know who those serious folks were. And this was the best way for us to do it. So we identified who expressed interest. We started having conversations with them, engaging them, and better understanding why they haven't done it yet. So there's folks in our membership base that have been members for, I think our oldest standing member is 63 years. He's been he's been a member of IHS for 63 consecutive years.
Wow.
What makes that guy tick, right? Why haven't you become board certified? I mean, that's maybe a bad example because he's 82, but we need to identify and understand what our members want and need, and it changes, it shifts. And this signals has provided us the direction that we need. This is the compass in my mind. We always create these campaigns with a preconceived idea what the expectation or outcome is going to be. This is telling us what that is and giving us that higher level engagement opportunity to engage and discuss and have conversation with our members, which is essential. That's how you win in the association space.
What's cool here, I think, Ken, how many members do you have?
Currently, we're at 3,200. We're on the cusp of massive growth. I can't really say much about it yet
Yeah, that's all
legally,
right.
but
Yeah,
we'll be up there.
but you've identified 56 people to target about a particular topic. And so you go from signals to
Mhm.
now the other thing that we released, side by side segments and signals and or signals and segments, I should say in that
Yep,
order. And now from that signal, you can create the segment. It's still early. I don't think you've done much with this yet, have you?
I have not, no.
Yeah. But
But yeah,
to your
it
point,
creates that path, right? It creates the path for us to be able to take immediate action and build and identify more information that we need to continue to do what we do.
Ken, thank you.
Yeah,
If anyone has questions for Ken, I'm going to put his email address up there in a minute. Um, we are coming close to the end. I want to wrap it up. I do have something for you. Actually, Ken, I got to share this with you right now. Forgive me. I was listening, but also while I was listening,
okay.
I was searching for early forms of AI specifically related to that problem I had. And this is what I found.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think
The crab. Yeah, yeah.
Sebastian might have been the first sign of AI that we found to help this guy, whatever his name was, look for signals.
Yeah.
And so finally, we all know the song Sebastian was singing here, and that was ultimately the recommendation that was coming out of the signals that Sebastian was. I love that. I think that's brilliant. We need to do a whole.
Justin with the Eric answer.
Oh,
Was that Watson? Maybe he asked Watson.
I just don't know what to think about that, Justin. That's very, very impressive that you know his name. I love that
Yeah.
movie. And talk about late 90s,
Yeah.
early 80s, late 80s. Anyway, okay. So you've spotted the signal. You got this list down from, 1,000 or in Ken's case, 3,200 down to 67, I'll say, in that engagement campaign. I say that for a reason. So now what you got 67 people you actually know what to do with them. And
Yeah.
so this is the second piece that we just showed with Ken's example, and this is membership AI segments. And so in this case, you got new members skipping onboarding check-ins. I like your example way better than this, but in this case, yeah, okay, new members, they're not doing check-ins. I think the next action could be more direct email or an SMS. If it were me, though, you know what I'd do with this segment? So now I got this segment of people I created from a signal, and this is a segment of people that deserves a phone call. Now, let's get away from the technology. They're not responding. We can't get them engaged digitally. Pick up the phone. Let's talk to them. And so that would be my next step in this scenario. All right. So let me tell you guys what's live today in Membership AI. We got signals. We've got segments, we've got an organizational profile, which is really, really cool. It's like the foundation for how it auto creates content and generates stuff by looking at the website and things that you plug in. And now we're capturing calls from the work you're doing with the client success rep. And it's really, really cool what we're adding to this organization profile. We've got proofreading tools, we got AI content writing, campaign summaries, but there's so much more. Specifically, June 23rd, we're coming out with recommendations and an initiative builder. And so that means for every signal, there's going to be a suggested next step so that you're not just seeing the pattern, you're actually being handed the move. And there's an initiative builder that turns that recommendation into a real campaign, drafted, segmented, and ready to send. So signals listen, segments group, and then these two recommendations, initiative builders, those close the loop. All right. Super, super excited for this. Thank you, Sabrina. Wow, that's Sabrina, you're awesome. Thank you so much for the cheering. I really appreciate it. So here it is. There's my email, Ken's email, if you want to reach out to us. So check this out. I actually, in the prep call before this, I turned to Brittany. I was like, what are we doing here? So
Yeah.
uh, Brittany told me if anyone here was not a client, obviously, clients already have the gift of me. But the rest of you, if you're not a client, this is intriguing to you. Book a demo right now, like literally while we are in this session. There it is. Thank you, Brittany. Brittany just put the link, and Brittany's going to send you a $100 gift card or a pair of AirPods, whatever one you want. I think you get to pick. Is that right, Brittany? They pick, or do we just send them one of those two things?
Dealer's
Dealer's
choice.
choice. Wait, what does that mean? So we pick? We're the dealer? All right. Well, no. I don't know what that means. So uh,
They pick, I think. I think that's
needless to
what it is.
say,
Yeah, they
no, it's
pick.
you
Yeah.
pick. You pick. You're the dealer in this case. Player's choice. So you get to pick Amazon. So if you're interested, man, like this is just our little nudge to get you to do it now. That's what we do. We sell things. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ken. I really, really appreciate your time. Excuse me. Um, this person signed up under the CEO's name. Boy, will that CEO be excited to get a new set of AirPods or $100 gift card. I'm just kidding. Make sure tell you what, send me or Brittany an email so that we know that you're the one getting the AirPods. Um, all right. I'm gonna wait for a second, see if there's any questions. In the meantime, again, Ken, thank you so much. We'll
I
be in touch.
appreciate that
I will see you
conversation.
next week at
Next week,
MMCT in DC. Anybody else in this call going to MMCT next week? Down DC, ASAE, Membership Marketing, Communications, and
yes.
Technology.
Ooh,
All
got a
right.
couple.
Kevin,
Nice. Yeah.
Steve. Oh, I'm sorry.
Uh,
All right. Well, if you are here and well, come on down. So if you are here and you're going to be at MMCT, please come by, introduce yourself, tell me you are here, and that'll at least ring a bell for me. All right. Thank you guys so much. Once again, final time, thank you, Ken, and I will see you
Yeah.
next week.
Thank you so much, Dave. Bye, everyone.